Hey y'all. Well, guess what? It came. And I absolutely love it. It's extraordinarily bright, but this green, somewhere between this green right here and this green right here, is the color that I purchased to paint the mailboxes. And I have 10 yards, so I will have enough to cover the both mattresses. I don't know if I'll use it for the mattress on the inside of the cat house. I may use just something different for that. I'll have to decide in a moment, when I get close to the end of it. But I'll have enough to do the mattress for the top of the cat house, and then also the cushions for both of these chairs and the cushion for this chair as well. But yay, yay. All right, I have that one last appointment today. I had the appointment yesterday, but we ended up not having enough time to finish it, so I'm going back today, and this is the last until Monday. Monday was not on the radar, but they were able to schedule Hugh's MRI for his hips and knees. So that's Monday. I'll drop that off there so I can come back and get my seed. But look what a gorgeous day again, guys. Today is, let me see, the 7th of November. It is just extraordinarily warm. A little concerning. I'm hoping that winter is going to actually come. If we stay in a perpetual fall, that will make this next season a little bit tough. We need to have a good freeze, some cold weather, some snow and rain to get some water in the ground. And I thought I'd walk over here. He was being noisy, but walk over here and show you what's going on with his sawmill shed. It's looking really good, y'all. He's in the process of making lots and lots of handmade, what are these things called, Huey? I'll have to get his attention, he can't hear me. Is this called a stringer? A rafter, okay. A rafter. And you can see what he's doing is sandwiching 3 boards together, which will make it very, very strong. He has several ready over here, I think. Let's go see what he's got. And John will come, and the two of them, it'll take both of them to, one will lift it with the machine, the other will be up on the ladder to set it. But yeah, he has several ready to go. So it looks like what he's done is he's used a 2-inch in the middle, and then he sandwiched both sides with a 1-inch, and that will work, because all he's going to have on top of it is just 10, so it's not going to have any weight up top. But the 2 that he sandwiched on either sides of the 2x6 is just to lengthen it, just to make it long enough to handle the expanse. As you can see, they decided that this big long expanse needed something more than just the wood. Hugh had this long timber that he had made, but it was just looking a little saggy right in the middle. Barely. I mean, you had to be standing way back before you could notice that there was any sag at all. But they put together these 2 pieces of metal, and they have bolted that in, so that's a nice strong open beam in the front, which is, they had to have the open beam. Hey Pops, tell us what you're doing here.
Trying to get a shed to put the sawmill in, and It's just a long, drawn-out process, but it'll work.
Well, you've got the hardest part done.
Well, you're building with rough lumber, nothing's going to be perfect.
Yeah.
It's not like buying size lumber where everything's exact, but it'll be good enough. I built with rough lumber all my life. My dad had a big sawmill, and everything we did was with rough lumber, so sometimes you have to compensate for something not being just exactly the same size, but that's all right.
Okay, what are you trying to do today?
Well, I've got 3 more rafters to make.
So 3 more of those.
And then I'm gonna put some more. I'm gonna put some bracing on the back side like I got on the front side. And then when John gets freed up, he's gonna bring his little track hoe down here and set them up with a track hoe.
Yeah. Nice, nice.
And or we can set them up with a backhoe. It'll reach, but his track hoe's a lot more maneuverable. And
He keeps moving out of the frame. I'm going to have to hog tie him. I said, you keep moving out of the frame, I'm going to have to hog tie you.
Just walk when I walk. Because you know I can't stand still. I never could.
He cannot stand still. He cannot. How long do you think it'll take you to finish?
A long time.
A long time, okay.
Because before we can finish, we got to tear that shed down up there.
Right. Now he's not talking about
I'm not tearing the barn down,
the little building itself.
But the shed's about to fall, and it's pulling on the barn pretty good.
But that little shed that's coming.
That shed.
Right. That little shed that's coming off of that side. The one the closest to us on that side. So that's where he's going to cabbage the tin from. But yeah, it's that little shed up there is saggy and everything's it is pulling on the little barn itself, so it needs to come off before it causes any more damage.
That old barn's kind of inconvenient for anything, but I'm storing my wood in it for right now. When I saw, I'm taking it up there and stacking it to dry. It's a good place to dry wood.
It gets pretty hot in there too, so.
It does get, when the summertime, it gets hot in there.
So it is a good kiln. good little kiln. It's just if the opening was a little bigger and a little bit more convenient, you ought to maybe fix that. What do you think?
No, you can't make that opening any bigger. That building will fall.
Well, then don't make the opening any bigger. Oh, gracious.
I'll just go slow and go through the little door it's got.
Yeah.
That barn was built, they said, for flue-cured tobacco, which I only grew 1 season. But the way the barn is, it's pretty much totally useless.
Yeah.
It has about a half basement in it. When I was really young, I wasn't really big enough to help, but I was big enough to get in the way. We clashed tobacco in the basement of that building because it's a dirt floor and it would keep a tobacco in case. What I mean by in case would be the right humidity to make it supple enough to where you can tie your hands. And
tell them what you mean by hands.
It's going to be a lost art soon enough.
Tell them what you mean by a hand of tobacco.
Well, you'd pull the leaves off of the stalk, and you had like 4 grades. We typically just made 3. Well, no, we made 4 because you had the lugs, the red, and the tips, and then the green. When you'd cut tobacco, and then when it went to drying in the field, if you had a really hot sunny day, when you cut tobacco, a lot of times you'd have green spots in it, and it didn't sell real good. So you kept it separate to keep from hurting the price on the good tobacco. And but you'd pull it off and you'd get a handful of leaves, and then you'd find a good supple leaf and you'd tie it.
Wrap it around and untuck it.
Tie it around the end, the stem end, and then you'd lay that in a pile. And then when we'd get enough done to make a basket, take a tobacco basket and lay it down. I guess they were about 4 foot by 4 foot.
About 4 foot square,
and, then you'd put some loose in the middle to make it easier, cushion your knees a little bit, and then you'd start going around and around and around. And
with the tied end to the outside edge.
With the tied ends to the outside, and it made a really pretty basket
it was
of tobacco.
Pretty. It was pretty. Y'all need to go online and Google.
But then when we had been married, 4 or 5 years, we went to baling tobacco, which was, we had balers and you just stack it in the baler loose on both ends, and then you would pack it. We used an old farm jack, and we'd compress it. And then when you'd get the baler full, then you'd tie it and take the door off and set about 100 or so pound bale out, and then those were a lot easier to work with. Because a basket of tobacco typically weighed about between 500 and 600 pounds.
Yeah. And it sped it up considerably.
You better believe it did.
But
it took probably, our crop of tobacco, we probably saved 20 hours when we went to baling.
Hugh's mother was the fastest person I've ever seen tying tobacco.
The prettiest hand of tobacco I ever seen.
Yeah.
Her and my grandmother.
And that was kind of something to brag about. I mean, just kind of like your quilting skills or your canning skills or your baking skills. I can tie a pretty hand of tobacco.
But I always heard it said that if you had a really pretty basket of tobacco, it would bring more money. So my mother took extra. She was fast at it, but she took great pains to make the ends of it even.
Yeah. So it was a visual thing. Wow.
And the end of the hand of my mother's was about maybe 2 inches. Of course, me with my old big hands, mine were about 3 inches. Not near as pretty as my mother's.
Well.
3 more to go.
I kind of miss those days, believe it or not. I'm glad that tobacco's not, causing... Well, I don't know. I don't know if there's a lot of people still smoking cigarettes and tobacco, but for health reasons, I'm glad that it kind of went away. But it was a thing here in the rural South. One of many things that's kind of gone by the wayside. Some things it's good, and some things it's sad.
We gotta get set back up where we can saw.
Yes. Tell us about your logs here.
Those logs are part of Helene storm damage recovery. We went and helped some friends. They had 2 big white oak trees. All those logs come out of 2 trees, if that gives you any indication of how tall they were.
It's a big tree.
And that's just 2 trees. And a white oak to blow down, that's kind of unusual because white oaks are pretty
strong,
firm.
Yeah.
But at least they missed a house.
Wow. Yeah.
We just had to clean them up out of the yard.
Yeah.
And but they'll make some good lumber. I'll saw enough boards to side 3. I'm gonna side 3 sides of that in, just to kind of break the wind and the draft. So.
Yeah. There's Ruby, or
Cows are
Mama
to
Bill.
the water.
Mama Bill, where you going? See her back there behind
We're
the fence.
We're going to go get them a drink of water.
Okay, here they come. All right. Well, I'm going to go over and work on putting some of this stuff off the porch away and out of the yard away, and try. That's my goal this week, is to have the porch cleaned off, everything on it painted, and everything in the front put away for once. Don't laugh at me. He's laughing at me because I've said that every week now.
She ain't been home.
It's been a busy week. It's been a busy month. All right, Papa, thank you. He didn't hear me. All right, y'all. It is time to stay home. It is time. I have no appointments, nowhere I have to be other than just the one this afternoon and then Hugh's MRI on Monday. And y'all, I'm very excited about that. Very, very excited. I love being home, and it's just hard. I don't know if y'all just feel like this, but I don't know. Part of it's the drive time. But when you have an appointment in the middle of the day and you have to get ready to go, and then you have to drive there, and then you have the appointment, then you have to come back, and usually you end up stopping at the grocery store or some other such, pick this up while you're out or whatever. It ends up taking up your whole day. And something about traveling and being away from home just exhausts me. It makes me more tired than being at home and working all day. So I'd rather be at home and work all day and get something accomplished. All right, y'all. Look at this blue, blue Carolina sky. And look how green the grass is right here in the 7th day of November. My goodness. All right. Love you much, and talk to you soon.